Lost in love, found in regret, a love that was meant to last. Michael and Emily were inseparable. From the moment they met in college, their love blossomed into something truly special. They promised to stay together no matter what, vowing that nothing would ever break them apart. Life seemed perfect when they got married, settling into a cozy home in Seattle. Their love deepened with each passing day, and soon, Emily was pregnant with their first child. She was overjoyed, believing that their love had now taken a new, beautiful form. But as fate would have it, things took a turn. Michael, who once saw Emily as his world, started feeling distant. At work, he met a woman named Jessica. She was everything he had once seen in Emily: exciting, vibrant, new. He told himself it was just a harmless attraction, but the stolen glances turned into long conversations, the casual lunches turned into secret dates, and before he knew it, he had fallen for her. Emily noticed the change. The late-night work calls, the distracted conversations, the lack of warmth in his touch. It all pointed towards something she feared the most. She started living in a constant state of anxiety, wondering when the inevitable would happen. The dinners she prepared were left untouched, the texts she sent were met with delayed responses, and the love in Michael's eyes seemed to be fading. One evening, Emily decided to confront him. "Michael, is there something you're not telling me?" Her voice was calm, but the tremor in it was unmistakable. Michael hesitated before sighing. "Emily, I just feel trapped. I need some space." "Trapped?" Emily repeated, her heart pounding. "We built this life together. We planned our future together. How can you say that?" Michael avoided her gaze. He didn't have an answer, at least not one he was willing to say out loud. The truth was, he had already drifted too far, and Jessica had become the gravitational force, pulling him away from his home. Days turned into weeks, and Michael's absence became more frequent. Emily cried herself to sleep, wondering what she had done wrong. She held on to the belief that once their baby was born, things would go back to the way they were. But deep down, she feared it was already too late. And then, the night she dreaded finally came. Michael came home late, the scent of unfamiliar perfume lingering on his clothes. Emily sat on the couch, waiting. Her belly had grown significantly, and exhaustion clung to her body. "Michael, where were you?" Michael rubbed his temples, looking irritated. "Emily, I don't want to fight right now." "We need to talk," she insisted, standing up, her hands instinctively cradling her belly. "I can't do this anymore, Emily," Michael blurted out, his voice void of the love it once carried. "I've fallen in love with someone else. I want a divorce." Emily's breath caught in her throat. Her fingers dug into her skin as she struggled to process his words. "Michael, please, think about our baby. Think about everything we built together." But Michael had made up his mind. In his eyes, his happiness lay elsewhere, not in the home they had built together. And so, despite Emily's pleading, he left her, filing for divorce and moving in with Jessica. The days that followed were unbearable for Emily. Every morning, she woke up in an empty bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to piece together the fragments of her broken life. She spent nights crying into her pillow, unable to understand how the man she had loved so deeply could abandon her so easily. She struggled to keep herself together for the sake of the baby growing inside her. The bills piled up, the loneliness consumed her, and the memories of their love haunted her at every turn. The crib they had bought together stood in the corner of the bedroom, untouched, a cruel reminder of what was supposed to be a joyful time in their lives. She began working extra hours, despite the toll it took on her body. The exhaustion was unbearable. But the thought of bringing a child into the world, with no financial stability, frightened her even more. Friends offered support, but the void left by Michael's absence could never truly be filled. The moment of truth arrived when Emily went into labor. Alone in the hospital, she cried through the pain, longing for the man who was supposed to be there beside her. But Michael never showed up. He was too busy, too distracted, too lost in his own selfish pursuits to realize what he was missing. Hours of labor turned into agony. Yet through it all, Emily fought with all her strength, determined to bring her child safely into the world. When Noah was born, Emily held him close to her chest, whispering promises into his tiny ears. "I will never leave you, my love. I will always be here." Little did she know, those words would become the foundation of the life she was about to build, a life of resilience, strength, and unwavering love. Months turned into years. Emily worked hard, juggling multiple jobs, sacrificing sleep, and ensuring Noah never felt the absence of a father. She became both mother and father, protector and provider. Every milestone, from Noah's first steps to his first words, was witnessed and cherished by her alone. And as he grew, so did her determination to give him a life full of love and stability. Michael, meanwhile, watched from the shadows. He was no longer the confident, carefree man he once was. His marriage with Jessica had crumbled into a bitter battlefield of accusations and regret. She had taken everything in the divorce: his money, his house, and his dignity. Now he was left with nothing but the haunting realization of what he had thrown away. One day, he found himself standing outside Emily's modest apartment. He hesitated, heart pounding. Would she even let him see his son? Did Noah even know who he was? Years had passed, and he had missed so much. With trembling hands, he knocked on the door, bracing himself for the moment he had both dreaded and longed for. The door opened, revealing Emily. She looked at him, not with anger, but with a quiet strength that made his heart ache. And then, behind her, stood Noah, a little boy with eyes full of curiosity, eyes that mirrored his own. Michael swallowed the lump in his throat. "Emily, can we talk?" The weight of regret. Michael stood in front of Emily's house, his fingers trembling as he hesitated before knocking. The memories of their past flooded his mind, her laughter, their late-night talks, the way she had once looked at him with pure love. But those days were long gone. Now, he was just a man filled with regret, a man who had thrown away the best thing in his life for a fleeting illusion of happiness. He knocked. The door opened slowly, revealing Emily. Her expression was unreadable, stoic yet laced with something deeper, something he couldn't quite place. But it wasn't warmth, it wasn't forgiveness. "Michael," she said, her tone devoid of emotion. Michael swallowed hard. "Emily, I know I don't have the right to be here, but I had to come." "Why?" she asked simply. Michael's eyes flickered toward the small boy peeking out from behind her. Noah, his son, the child he had abandoned. The boy's innocent eyes held curiosity, but also caution. He didn't know the man standing at the doorstep. I want to see him. I want to be part of his life." Emily's lips pressed into a thin line. "You lost that right when you walked away, Michael, when you left us. Do you have any idea what it was like? Raising him alone? Wondering if he would ever ask about you? Watching him grow up without a father, Michael's chest ached. He had envisioned this conversation in so many ways, but none of them compared to the reality of facing the consequences of his actions. "I made a mistake," he admitted, "and I regret it every single day. I was blinded, selfish, and I lost everything. But I want to make things right. Please, Emily." Emily turned her gaze toward Noah, who clutched at the hem of her dress. "Sweetheart," she said softly, crouching down to his level, "this is your dad." Noah blinked up at her, then turned to Michael. "Dad?" The word was foreign on his tongue. Michael's heart twisted. "Yes, buddy, I wasn't there before, but I want to be here now. If you'll let me." The boy hesitated, glancing at his mother for reassurance. Emily's heart ached, torn between protecting her son and giving him what he deserved, the chance to know his father. "Noah, if you want to talk to him, you can, but only if you want to." Noah studied Michael for a long moment before stepping forward cautiously. "Where were you?" he asked in a small voice. Michael inhaled sharply, feeling the weight of the question. "I made a bad choice, Noah, and I hurt you and your mom. But I want to be better. I want to be your dad now." Noah looked at him with an intensity that didn't match his age. "Mom never left me. You did." Tears welled in Michael's eyes. "I know, buddy, and I'll spend every day proving that I won't leave again." Emily crossed her arms, watching carefully. "You don't get to just walk back in and pretend like everything is okay, Michael. This is going to take time. And if you let him down again, I swear, I will never let you come near him again." Michael nodded solemnly. "I understand. I won't mess this up." Over the following weeks, Michael worked to regain the trust he had shattered. He showed up every single day. He picked Noah up from school, took him to the park, sat with him as he did his homework. But the boy was hesitant. He didn't run into his arms. He didn't call him dad with ease. Trust wasn't given. It was earned. Emily watched from the sidelines, unsure of how to feel. She had spent years resenting Michael, cursing his name in the silence of her empty nights. But seeing him with Noah, seeing his genuine regret, made it harder to hold on to that hatred. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, Michael sat on the front steps of Emily's house. She joined him, crossing her arms over her chest. "You're really trying," she admitted. Michael exhaled slowly. "I have to. I lost everything, Emily. I lost you. I lost him. And I have nothing left if I don't at least try to fix this." She studied him for a moment. "It doesn't change the past. Number. But maybe it can change the future." Emily sighed. "For Noah's sake, I hope so." Michael looked toward the small window where Noah's silhouette was visible. "Do you think he'll ever forgive me?" Emily's expression softened. "That's not up to me. It's up to you, and how much you're willing to fight for him." Michael nodded, determination settling in his chest. He had a long road ahead, but for the first time in years, he had a purpose again. And he wouldn't let it slip away. Redemption and reconciliation. Michael had made a promise to prove that he was not the same man who had once walked away from his family. But promises were not enough. Trust had to be rebuilt, not just with words, but with actions. And every day that passed, he faced the weight of his own regret. Months had passed since his return, and while Noah had grown more accustomed to his presence, the invisible wall between them still remained. Michael longed for the day when his son would look at him with warmth instead of wariness. One afternoon, Michael arrived early to pick Noah up from school. As he stood by the playground, he overheard another child teasing Noah. "At least I have a real dad. Yours left you and now he's just pretending to care." Michael's heart clenched as he watched Noah's tiny fists ball up in anger. He stepped forward, but before he could say anything, Noah turned and shouted, "He's trying." "That's more than you know." Michael froze. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was the first sign that Noah saw his effort. Later that night, as Michael sat in Emily's living room, helping Noah with his homework, Emily caught herself watching them. It was strange, seeing Michael in that space again after so many years. But for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel anger toward him, only exhaustion from the burden she had carried alone for so long. "You're really not giving up, are you?" she asked quietly. Michael glanced up from the worksheet. "Number, I don't deserve an easy way back into his life, but I'll fight for him, for as long as it takes." Emily nodded, swallowing back emotions she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. "Then keep fighting." But just as things seemed to be improving, life threw another test their way. Emily received a job offer in another city, a better salary, better opportunities for her and Noah. It was everything she had worked so hard for, but it also meant leaving everything behind, including Michael's chance to be in Noah's life. She debated whether to tell him. Would he fight for them? Would he ask her to stay? Or would he let them go again? When she finally broke the news, Michael's face paled. "You're leaving?" Emily took a deep breath. "I have to think about what's best for Noah. This job will give us stability." Michael's jaw tightened. "I understand. But please, Emily, don't take him away from me." "It's not my choice to make, Michael. It's his." Noah had overheard the conversation. He stepped into the room, looking between his parents. "Do I have to go, Mom?" Emily hesitated. "It's a great opportunity, sweetheart." Noah turned to Michael. "Would I still get to see you?" Michael knelt down, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "I would never stop trying, buddy, no matter how far you go." Noah thought for a long moment before shaking his head. "I don't want to go. I want to stay here, with both of you." Emily swallowed. This wasn't just her decision anymore. It was Noah's, and for the first time, she saw something in his eyes, a trust she had never thought would be given to Michael again. She exhaled. "Okay, we'll stay." That night, as Noah slept, Michael found Emily sitting outside, staring at the night sky. "Thank you," he said softly. Emily didn't look at him. "Don't thank me, Michael. Just don't let him down." Michael nodded. He had been given a second chance, a rare and precious thing, and he would spend the rest of his life making sure he never wasted it again. The final redemption. Time passed, and Michael continued to prove himself. He was there for every school event, every scraped knee, and every bedtime story. He didn't just want to be Noah's father. He wanted to be a father Noah could trust. The wounds of the past were healing, slowly but surely. But life had one final test in store for them. One evening, Emily received a call that made her heart drop. Her mother had suffered a stroke, and she needed to leave town immediately to take care of her. She had no choice but to leave Noah behind for a few weeks. The only person she could turn to was Michael. "Are you sure about this?" he asked when she hesitated before handing him Noah's bag. Emily exhaled. I don't have a choice, Michael. I trust you. Those words meant more to him than she would ever know. For the first time, Michael was solely responsible for Noah. Every morning, he made him breakfast, burning the toast a few times before finally getting it right. He struggled with school drop-offs, last-minute science projects, and bedtime tantrums. But through it all, something changed between them. Noah no longer looked at him as a stranger trying to make amends. He saw him as a father. One night, after an exhausting day, Noah climbed onto the couch beside Michael and rested his head against his shoulder. "Dad," he said softly. Michael's heart nearly stopped. It was the first time Noah had called him that. His hands trembled as he wrapped an arm around his son. "Yeah, buddy. I forgive you." Tears welled in Michael's eyes. He had waited so long to hear those words, but he never thought they would come. "Thank you, Noah. That means everything to me." Emily returned a few weeks later to find a different home. Michael and Noah had built something real, a bond that could not be broken. She watched them together, laughing over a silly cartoon, and she knew things would never be the same again. "I guess I should go home now," Michael said, standing up when she walked in. Noah's face fell. "You don't have to, Dad. You can stay." Emily's breath caught in her throat. She met Michael's eyes, and in that moment, she saw the man she had once loved, the man she had thought was lost forever. "Would you like to stay for dinner?" she asked softly. Michael smiled. "I'd love to." Over time, Michael and Emily slowly rebuilt their relationship, not as the people they used to be, but as the people they had become. They weren't perfect. They still had scars, but together, they were stronger. And as they sat around the dinner table, with Noah laughing between them, they knew one thing for certain. Love, no matter how broken, could always find its way back home. Love this story? There's more where that came from. Subscribe to my channel for more heart-touching romance stories that will keep you hooked till the very end. Don't miss the next one.